Lesson 2.1, Writing Equations. In Algebra 1, we will solve word problems, real-life application problems, by writing equations that contain a variable. So in this lesson, we will learn how to write an equation from a word problem. So please jot down these 3 steps. To write an equation, number 1, identify the unknown. The unknown is what it is that you're looking for. Number 2, assign a variable to it. Give it a letter. It could be X, it could be Y, it could be N. Number 3, write the sentence or the word problem as an equation. Okay, let's practice these 3 steps. Let's read this sentence. 2 plus the quotient of a number and 8 is the same as 16. Number 1, what is the unknown? Well, the unknown in this sentence is the number. What number? That is my unknown. So that will be our unknown is a number. And let's assign it a variable. Our variable will be n. And then write the equation. So let me go through this for a moment and kind of color code the sentence along with the equation as I write it so that you can see how I take the sentence a little bit at a time and write up the equation. Okay? Let's start with 2 plus. 2 plus is very simple, can be written as 2 plus, added to. Okay, the next little part that I have here is 2 plus the quotient of a number and 8. The quotient of a number and 8. Let's recall that quotient means the answer when you divide 2 numbers. What are we dividing? A number which we said was going to be n and the number 8. Okay, so so far we have 2 plus the quotient of a number and 8. And here's a word that you need to always know that it means equals. Is or is the same as can be translated as equals. And then of course 16 is 16. So that's how you would write that sentence as an equation. 2 plus n over 8 equals 16. All right, try number 2 on your own. 27 times k is h squared decreased by 9. So they've already identified the 2 variables for you. There are 2 variables in this one, k and h. Go ahead and just translate that into an equation. Pause the video now. Okay, check your work. I have 27k equals h squared minus 9. That's how you would translate that sentence into an equation. Okay, let's continue. Here's a real world problem. A real world example. All right, let me go ahead and start by just reading the paragraph, the word problem, and we'll answer the 3 questions. There are 50 members in the North Carolina Senate. This is 70 fewer than the number in the North Carolina House of Representatives. How many members are in the North Carolina House of Representatives? So the first question is asking me, what is the unknown? So go back to the question that it's asking, and it's asking us how many members are in the North Carolina House of Representatives. That's what is unknown. So what is unknown? Members in the House of Representatives. Assign it a variable. Well, because we're looking for the members that are in the House, I'm going to assign it the letter H. If we were looking for the number of members in the Senate, I probably would assign it the letter S. So, but it's up to you again. There's no hard, fast rule about what variable you can or cannot use. And then number 3, write the equation. All right, so what I want to do is I want to go through this question or through this paragraph word problem again and just make a few little notes for you. And you should do this too. Okay, it says there are 50 members in the North Carolina Senate. So we know that there are 2 sections of government. There's the Senate and the House of Representatives. Well, the Senate has 50 members. And then let's look at the second sentence. This, well, what? This is referring to the 50. The 50. This is equals 70 fewer than. Fewer than means subtraction. The number in the North Carolina House of Representatives, well, that represents H. So let's read this again. This 50 is equals 70 fewer than H. 70 less than H. 70 less than H is written H minus 70. Okay. All right, now let's look at translating a sentence into a formula. In a right triangle, the square of the measure of the hypotenuse C is equal to the sum of the squares of the measure of the legs A and B. I don't know if you remember, but this is actually a formula that we learned last year called Pythagorean theorem. So let's go ahead and translate this sentence into a formula. It says this again. In a right triangle, the square of the measure of the hypotenuse C, well, how would I write the square of C? Simply C squared, is equal to, well, I know how to translate that, equals. And then we have the following sentence. The sum of the squares of the measures of the legs A and B. So it's equal to the sum, meaning addition, of the squares, meaning raised to the second power, of the legs A and B. So it would be A squared plus B squared. Okay. All right, so not only are we going to practice translating words into equations, we're going to also practice translating equations into words. So we'll just practice one of these. There are probably many ways to translate any one sentence into an equation. Translate any equation into a sentence. But what we want to do is we want to practice using those vocabulary terms that we know. All right, so let's look at this one. 15 equals 25u plus 2. Okay, so 15. Now, I could write the word equals. I could write the word is the same as. I could write is equal to. It's really, they're all the same. They mean the same. So I'll write 15 is equal to. All right, and then we have 25u. Well, in between the 25 and the u, there is an invisible multiplication symbol. So I can write 25 times u. I can write 25 multiplied by u. I can write the product of 25 and u. Any of those really would be fine. I think I'm going to write is equal to the product of 25 and u. And then the rest of my equation is plus 2. So I can write plus 2, the word plus, the number 2. I can write added by 2. I can write increased by 2. I think I'll write that. Increased by 2. So again, there are probably there are a number of variations that would be correct. But again, the point is to practice using our terms, our vocabulary terms. So here's what my sentence reads. 15 is equal to the product of 25 and u increased by 2. All right, so for our independent practice, I want you to do the following. Translate each sentence into an equation or formula. You're going to do 1, 2, 4, and 5. And then on this page, you're going to be translating the equation into a sentence. You're going to do 3, 4, and 7. Okay, so work on these independently. We will go over them tomorrow. We will practice this skill a bit more tomorrow. Don't forget that if you have questions, feel free to write them down, and I will try to answer them all in class. God bless you. Have a great night.